noticeable.
Right, I've streamed.
But the beamer would be interesting to test. I guess we could do that after.
Let me just try a single.
I see it now.
Actually, let's do a practice.
Yep, just add maximum AI in there. So number of opponents as high as it can go, and then pick circuits older.
Hang on.
And the beamer, I guess.
Why won't it let me come out?
That menu? You just have to confirm it. Doesn't have an escape key option, just...
What was the beamer under?
It's the 6th or 7th button, the large M next to the TTRS. 7th at the top, between the K-man and the TTRS. Above the P1 and P2, yeah. And then just circuit solder, and you don't need to manually select the opponents. You can,
Oh, okay.
but you can select them manually if you want. But the easier way is to leave that at 0, and then in this menu, the second option below the car selection would be number of drivers, and they would automatically choose the same car class you have.
Hello.
Sorry, can I?
Sorry, Zandvoort, not solder.
Can I just interrupt? I just loaded one. I just took one RAM stick out and left one in. And it's now come up with devices changed, CPU or memory, or CMOS have been
CMOS.
cleared.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Please enter setup to configure your system. Press F1 to run setup. Press F2 to load default values and continue.
Sounds good.
Yeah, F1 to run setup, isn't it?
I don't know if you've run previously the setup, but I would assume so. Otherwise, you could try the default first. I mean,
yeah,
going through the setup, and it will probably present you with the default values anyway.
So I load F2 default.
Yeah, try that first. What track was it? Was it the Grand Prix?
Grand Prix, yeah.
Sorry. Right.
Oh, I've got it back again. I've got the BIOS in.
Oh shit! I haven't got my HUD loaded.
You can do that with Raceroom open.
Yeah,
I've just need to. I don't know. I use Crew Chief to run it, but you might have to dash exit.
Yeah, I have the dash exit. Yeah, it's alright. I've got it sorted.
Yeah, Autohut doesn't mind about that.
Ah, so that's off now.
That should always stay off now. Yes, that's it's basically a drive assist, like automatic gearing or always ABS enabled.
Oh, what have I done? It's got 20. Is that 23 hours of practice?
Practice is always that long.
What do you have?
Practice session.
What do you have your TC set to?
You should start with 4, but strive towards going to 5 or even 6 with this car. 6 is a bit difficult on this track because of the weight transfer might lose you the rear, but it loses you a lot of speed if you stick with 4.
Right.
But it should feel much better now.
Doesn't feel like it's getting bogged down.
Yeah. Stability control basically stops your wheels from spinning so you don't spin out, which also was the reason that the F4 was like relatively easy to drive.
Yeah.
But it does cause a lot of understeer problems. And then when you turn it to TC5, the throttle control comes into it again, and TC6 will basically disable all traction control. And the car does not have that much power, but out of corners with bumpy tracks you need to be aware of it.
Yeah.
And you can easily use it, especially on rookie surface. It might be beneficial to start in TC4 until the field stretches out a bit.
Yeah.
So far the stream runs buttery smooth, I would say.
Sweet. Appreciate that.
So Jay, the BIOS recognises the one stick I've got in there.
Yeah.
So what shall I do? Save changes and reboot, and then.
Well, you're going to need more than one stick in it, aren't you?
I know, but if I set it up and then do that and then turn the PC off, then add the other stick.
2 different sticks?
No, they're both
Just-
the same.
Just
They're
put,
my original one.
put your new ones in. Just put your 2 new ones in. I wouldn't... Obviously don't put all 4 in because they're different.
Yeah.
You said you
So
had
what do I
issues
do?
with VR?
Yeah,
What should? Sorry.
You said you had issues with VR?
Well, not really issues. I mean, I have it running pretty good, to be truthful. But I heard the other day that, well, not the other day, a few months back, that 32 gig of RAM works a lot better with VR. Whether it's noticeable or not, I don't know. But
Which game?
sorry mate.
For which game?
oh, well, just in general.
Okay. Well, Raceroom is really CPU heavy, ACC is really GPU heavy. I'm not aware of a bottleneck with RAM right now. Like with Raceroom, CPU in VR is really important because they have like an implementation that runs on DirectX 9 and they put something on top of it to make it work, which basically doubles the system requirements when it runs in VR. So I had to disable shadows and everything. And ACC is just Unreal Engine, very modern, but a complete performance hog.
Yeah. I think was it Race Room you on tonight, wasn't it, Jay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Race Room, the one I can't even get VR to work in.
Oh, okay.
It just doesn't want to know. It's odd because when you're in the VR, you can see the screen, but it's like it's down at the bottom, like a very small screen down at your feet. It's the most bizarre thing. I can't get it in front of me. So
you might have to start it without VR, go to the controls options and map a button to reset the recenter the VR view, and then you might get the screen to move up towards your face.
right. Oh, okay. So turn the game on.
Usually turn the game on without VR, map the binding at the bottom of the controls list for recenter VR view, and then go to the main menu, wait a second or two, and then press that button, and it should move the screen in front of you. Usually it starts the screen wherever the headset is. So if you start the game with the headset lying to the side on a chair or somewhere, and then move it to your head, the view stays there. But I'm not aware of it being that far away usually.
Yeah, I do leave the VR on the floor, I must admit.
Okay, then the screen will probably start there, and when you try to put it on, then the screen is still down there.
So if I put my VR up high, or round about where my head is when I turn all my PC on, I suppose that would probably help, wouldn't it?
Yeah, or just once you have that button mapped, you can always just start the game, put the headset on, and when the main menu is there, you press the button and it whoop comes up in front of you. When the main menu is there, you press the button.
Yes.
It's the same thing in other VR games where basically once you move your head and you want to be recentered in that area where you are now, you press usually button inside the VR inside the VR menu itself or something which recenters the view.
Yeah, I do have a recenter button. I'm pretty sure I do in Raceroom. I do on most of them, to be truthful, because sometimes it just doesn't quite sit right, does it?
Yeah, that recenter button will not work instantly. You will have to press the button to basically get into the main menu, and then it will take 2 seconds before it registers button presses, pretty much. And then you also have the option to enable a screen monitor mirror, which projects the default race view onto the monitor even if you are in VR, which will help with controls because you then can even control the game even without the VR headset by using mouse and keyboard normally. But you have to toggle that on. Usually you get just a black screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's also
I
a
think
key
I do.
button.
I think I do have it. Does come up on screen
Oh, okay.
because I have it. What they call it? Is it mirrored, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it on that because sometimes I need that to try and get out of it. But my mouse doesn't always work where my screen is, so it's kind of
That could be a problem if you use like Windows desktop scaling. So if you have like Windows scaled up to 125%, where it makes things more easily readable, that messes with Raceroom and it moves the UI around sometimes. That is like a visual aid in Windows where you can say, okay, I want everything to be larger so it's more easily legible.
yeah.
Might be because of that, I don't know.
Okay, well I'll give that a whirl when I get my PC running.
Yeah. And if you have performance issues in Raceroom, first thing I would do is disable shadows completely, turn them off. They eat so much
Yeah.
performance, it's ridiculous. Second, if you're testing, make sure that the time progression is disabled. So if you go into single player practice, there's an option for time progression, which slightly moves the sun a little bit around to change the day cycle, basically from morning to evening. That costs a lot of performance and causes a stutter every second sometimes. And yeah, third thing is the MSAA in the option, which is really costly anti-aliasing. I've set that to low, or like I think 2x it is, and that should work. But yeah, I mean, first the PC needs to be running again, sure.
Okay. So just going back to this, and what do you think I should do? Do you think how do you think I should get out of this BIOS now? Do I just power off or
I mean, you
do I?
loaded the default values, so you can try starting it again and see if it comes up fine, and if it does, then just close it again and try the memory thing if you think those sticks are working fine.
So do I save changes and reboot?
Yep, try rebooting, see if it boots to where you want it to, if everything works fine, and then after that, try changing the memory after turning the PC off.
Yeah. That's key. Don't have the PC on while you're changing the RAM.
No.
It doesn't like it.
No, I do. I do definitely power that off. I pull the lead out and then press the power button on the PC for about 5 seconds. That's meant to drain everything.
Yep.
So it's done what it did earlier, which I've did the save the changes and reboot, and it's now come back into BIOS mode again.
Okay.
And this is the bit that I couldn't get out of earlier. Couldn't get out of the BIOS mode.
Yeah, but you've only got one stick in, haven't you? Is that right? Was it the new one or the old one?
No, it's the old one.
Right.
Do you want it to boot to a hard drive or something?
Did what?
Do you want it to boot to a hard drive to an existing installation or something? Or what? Where do you want it to go? You say it goes to BIOS, but you don't want to be in the BIOS?
No, because I presumed that once I'd save changes and reboot, it would go into Windows 10.
Okay, so maybe you need
to normal startup.
Maybe you need to go inside the BIOS, select which disk it should boot from. Maybe that one's not selected yet.
Yeah.
So I've got discard changes and exit.
Just quickly, did you watch the BMW race earlier, Broadstone?
I did not watch the BMW race.
I can't remember what bloody track it was.
I don't know.
I tell you what.
I mean, I can see which tracks are currently running.
Yeah, if I go to multiplayer, it should tell.
There's a website that tells you the beamer is on. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Portimao GP. Fourth server.
Portimao, yeah, Portimao. That's the one I want to test. That is the one I want to test. There we go. Oh, what was it? Club Chicane Grand Prix.
GP.
Right.
So how do you get out of this then? So if I hit the X button, it says you have not made any changes to the BIOS settings. Hit yes. Oh, what's happening now? No, I just got a black screen, just nothing. Oh, it's come back to BIOS again.
I don't know the BIOS itself. There should be an option somewhere where you can configure the disk itself. But like which disk it should load from, but it's really hard to debug that. I would say. Basically, there's a load option, load order, which devices it tries to boot from. The question now is, does it detect the hard drive? Like, does the BIOS should have somewhere listed where it says these are the things that I have found, and these are the hard disk drives, the SSD, whatever that I've found. And
Yeah.
if it doesn't show that, then maybe a cable got loose from the hard disk drive or something, where it doesn't detect it anymore. If that is correction, if that's the case, it should not be broken. Basically, the RAM could cause that, but I don't know. And if the hard disk drive is in there and it's in boot order at the start, then and it still doesn't load, then I think someone might have to get a Windows version, like a boot stick or whatever you want to use, and use the repair console to repair the. I think it's called bootloader. There were defines where Windows is installed and stuff like that. Because the resetting of BIOS might have to change the order where it detects the hard disk drive. Should. As I said, I'm not very familiar with hardware and mostly software.
Yeah.
Wow, this is much better.
Glad to hear that.
Much better.
I usually jump around like Raceroom streams and see if people need assistance with things. It's really great. Oh no, the stuttering is coming back.
It's coming back.
Yeah.
Well, I'm using Streamlabs OBS. I did change some. That means I've got to end the stream and then start it again.
Well, it's just test streams, so